Boruto's out of time. His strongest jutsu, the Rasengan Uzuhiko, that has failed miserably. It's felt like its name was Code. Jura hasn't even broken a sweat while fighting. The only thing he's done is tell Boruto that fighting you gets me really excited, and there is no backup in sight. Kawaki, he's still having Amato touch him to have his ninja tech limiters removed and to get full access to Ishiki's power. Momoshiki, he is silent and dormant. Sarda, she's completely unconscious. Mitsuki is currently watching over Sarda's unconscious body. Yodo is somewhere in the afterlife. Araya is somewhere playing with puppets. Dinky and Owabi are somewhere being non-canon, and it's important to remember that there's someone else that we've all been overlooking, someone who's unexpected, someone who is very likely hiding in the shadows, watching and waiting. The most unlikely savior for Boruto might be none other than Code. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video, where we're going to take a look at why Code's warning to Jura that he will be the last one getting the last laugh might be the moment that ironically ends up saving Boruto in what appears to be a helpless battle against Jura. Let me be clear right now, because I know somebody's going to hear that and immediately say, bruh, what the hell is going on? I'm not saying Code is going to come in and say, Boruto, we're best friends now, power of friendship. None of that right there. Instead, we're looking at this in character for Code and how, ironically, Code being such a buffoon might end up giving Boruto the opportunity to escape. Also, it is that time of the month, which means we are on spoiler watch right now, because the V-Jump magazine cover should be out by the time you guys are seeing this, which this video should be up on Monday. So if the cover's out, then expect the full spoilers in the next couple of days. From there, depending on when we get the raw scans, the chapter review will either be out on the day of the official release, which is the 19th this month, or it will be out a couple of days after, because the editor who does the Two Blue Vortex chapter reviews needs 48 hours to maintain the quality you guys have been getting for the Two Blue Vortex chapter reviews. So I thank you in advance for your patience as well as your support. Also, if you're into Fire Force, don't forget to check out my new Fire Force video on Anime Explained, where I break down all the captains in Fire Force. So if you're a fan of that series, feel free to check that one out, safe for anime only viewers to watch. Now, getting into the video itself, in this video we're going to explore why Boruto's savior might not be who you expect. Not Kawaki, not Momoshiki, but Code, the most overlooked wild card that's still in play. Why has he been missing for so long? Why did Jura let him live? And could Code's arrogance finally tip the scales in this brutal fight? Let's break down why Code might show up not as a hero, but as a catalyst for Boruto's escape and ultimately for Code's own downfall. Because it is important to remember that Masashi Kishimoto and Ikemoto, both of them got into a very serious fight because Kishimoto wanted to kill Code back in part 1 of Boruto, and Ikemoto fought for it. And that is something very important to factor in for this video. Now, Code's suspicious absence is where we have to look at. So we got to rewind back several chapters, back to chapter 15 of Two Blue Vortex. Jura made Code a deal. Track down Boruto and you can live. I'll give your life meaning and purpose. You have a reason to survive now. Jura was talking greasy to Code, and Code, he agreed. But then in the time after that, it's been nothing. No sign of Code, no updates, no progress. Matsuri and Ryu ended up finding the location that Boruto was in even faster than Code could. Except, look at it now, Jura is the one fighting Boruto. Code's nowhere to be seen. And here's the kicker, Code knows what's going on. How? Because Code embedded his claw marks into all of the awakened Shinju. Those Shinju, including Jura, they carry not just Code's chakra and chakra of the Ten Tails, Ishiki's essence, and also in the case of Jura, he contains the main body of the Ten Tails, but they also, because they have Code's chakra, they carry the cells of Shibai Otsuki. That means that Code can see through them. As we've seen, he's able to pop up out of the claw marks in those areas. He's been watching. So you have to ask, why hasn't he acted? It's simple. Code's waiting. He's waiting for Boruto to wear down. He's waiting for his perfect moment to pounce. Allow me to frame this for you. So Code's grand entrance. Picture this. Boruto on his knees, bloody, he is spent. Jura's raising his hand for the final blow, then suddenly rip. The claw mark opens up on Jura's back. Code emerges with a smirk, and Code is now talking his greasy talk, overconfident. He thinks it's over. He thinks he's won. He thinks that Boruto, someone who he hates, is now weak enough to either be killed or be captured. And why wouldn't he? He's always viewed the Ten Tails, which is now Jura, as being nothing other than a tool. He told Jura, what are you guys doing? Why aren't you capturing Boruto? Why aren't you capturing Kawaki? The same way that Boruto was calling them trees with the hard R. You got Code talking crazy to the Ten Tails until Jura ripped this guy's arm off in the last chapters. And here's the twist. Despite everything that Code has done, despite getting bullied, you can still argue that he still looks down at the Ten Tails themselves. He still, to a certain degree, views them as being a weapon. The problem is that Jura is not a mindless beast. By interrupting this fight, Code's gonna mess around and get bored to the one thing that he needs most, one thing he's never had in this fight, which is time, because Boruto needs a full minute in order to activate his space-time ninjutsu, the Flying Raijin, in order to teleport long distances. He's unable to do so while fighting Jura because Jura's not going to give him the time. He's out for the kill. He is going straight at Boruto's neck. He's enjoying himself. He's playing around while he's beating him crazy. And as such, Boruto's never had the time to sit there and concentrate. But if you have Code who distracts Jura and Code starts talking with that smart mouth of his, that's enough time for Boruto to teleport away to safety. 1 minute and Boruto will vanish. Does he go back to that hideout? Does he go back to where Sarda and the others are, grab them teleport away as well? It's possible. He needs 1 minute. This fits very perfectly when you think about it because it is Code's extreme character flaw. He is basically the personification of ignorance that is born from arrogance, which is very ironic because someone who, despite being so strong, he's ironically extremely weak. From the start, Code has misunderstood the Ten Tails themselves. He's misunderstood the Otsutsuki, arguably, even though Code in part 1 knew more about Otsutsuki than Boruto or Kawaki did. He knew how to properly use karma. In fact, he basically taught Boruto how to tap into true essence of karma. He's the one who was directly underneath Jigen, a vessel for Ishiki, basically Ishiki speaking through Jigen. He knows so much about the Otsutsuki, and yet he is completely ignorant. From the start, he's misunderstood that. He worships the Otsutsuki, and yet we can make the stronger argument. He doesn't truly understand their complexity. He thinks that strength alone basically makes him a successor. But the problem is that he lacks true understanding. He lacks true understanding about the changing situation with the Ten Tails. He treats these Ten Tails, in particular Jura, the most dangerous entity in the Naruto world. He still views it like a pet that he needs to subdue. When Jura basically ripped his arm off and was talking crazy to him, and you got Momoshiki snickering and laughing at him, Code's body language and the way that he was drawn and the way that he so confidently said that I'm gonna get the last laugh, he looked at it like a pet owner who basically had to break in a misbehaving pet. In so many ways, Code is a character who is a living consequence of his own hubris. So when Code steps onto this battlefield thinking that he's won, thinking that he's accomplished what he needs to, that Jura has served his purpose, he's not just in the process of interrupting Jura, who is now hunting Boruto, who Jura is having fun playing with Boruto. He's also insulting him because Jura spared his life, and he spared his life because, by his own words, Code gave them life. And yet, one theme that we've seen constantly in literature is that parents get killed by children. Code, in so many ways, is a parent to Jura. And this might be the final straw that turns Jura completely against Code permanently and makes him kill him. Makes him realize that Code is a hindrance. Makes him realize that he is another fool who's trying to play God with a power that he has overestimated because he knows, hey, I'm stronger than Jigen, and yet at the same time, he is continuously allowing himself to be placed in a situation where he has overestimated the capacity of his own vessel and underestimated those who are around him. In this moment, that's where you have the potential escape, when Jura is momentarily distracted either from Code's arrogance or potentially from Code's own betrayal. Boruto sees this opening. He's smart enough to understand what's happening. His mind's gonna race. It's not the time to fight. He knows all my jutsu have failed. Again, Kawaki's somewhere getting touched by Yamato to get Ishiki's full power release. That's just enough time to escape. Using those precious seconds that add up to a full minute, Code will unintentionally buy him time. Boruto vanishes into the space-time. Wounded, yes, but alive. And now he's got intel, he's got experience, he's got purpose. All thanks to Code's ego. This brings me to the most important aspect of this entire conversation. Because again, I'm not fully sold on this possibility, but I do want to throw it out there because when you write, and what we do here on the channel, we approach things from the perspective of a writer. When you write, it's important to occasionally subvert the expectations of your readers. And this would be a perfect subversion of expectations. Fans right now, they're waiting for Kawaki to arrive in a blaze of glory. I'm in that camp. I think that that's the most likely thing to happen. I think first you have Momoshiki to finally take control, which is another thing people are waiting for, but also for Kawaki to show up as well. It's a firm breeding ground for a lot of conflict. There's a potential Chekhov's gun there. Momoshiki's not shown himself in Two Blue Vortex. Boruto said just cutting on the karma's enough for Momoshiki to take over. He's told Kawaki to kill him. Kawaki's getting his limiters removed. This feels like there's a gun that's going to come off at some point. But instead, the one person that nobody expects to help Boruto, even if it's unintentionally, ends up being the reason that Boruto survives. It's smart writing if you do Code in that way, because authors often use subversions of expectations to challenge the assumptions and shake the narrative of readers. It's a way to keep the story fresh and unpredictable. It's something that Chainsaw Man deeply excels at, and I would even make the argument that Jujutsu Kaisen did a very good job at it as well. Case in point, how certain characters of a certain fan got upset that certain character was half the man he used to be. When you do things like this, it makes for a grounded story, a grounded character, and for a character like Code, whose arc has been defined basically by delusion, if we're being honest here, obsession and delusion. This outcome, it could serve as a poetic form of justice. So will Code be Boruto's unlikely savior? Would this be the ultimate subversion of expectations? Not because he cares, not because he's good, but because he's so blinded by ambition. He makes the worst mistake at the perfect time for Boruto. And in doing so, he ends up allowing the person that he wants to die to survive and earn the wrath of the very Ten Tails that he views as being a mindless beast that he can control. He realizes, hey, this wasn't a fluke last time. This guy will kill me, just as Boruto warned. Kill the Ten Tails now while you can before it kills you. Could this be the moment that Boruto foresaw, or rather that Boruto was warning about? Because it is important to remember Jura has already given permission to Ryu. Go ahead and kill Code next time you see him. Ryu's dead, so let's just say that Jura doesn't do it himself, this time taking more than an arm. Sometimes the biggest fool sparks the biggest turning of events, and as we were told in part 1 of Boruto, Code is indeed a fool. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking here on the left to check out these Naruto Explained videos, or click here on the right to check out these videos from my other 2 anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto content.